Hello everybody, my name is Robert Baxter and I want to share a little testimony with you about my life. I graduated from nursing school in 1990. My wife and I moved to Houston, Texas, and we started our family. Got two wonderful daughters, and we live in Fort Worth, Texas now in a modest little home. In 2008, I started feeling really bad, January 14th, 2008. And I thought I had a flu bug. Next day, I thought I was having a heart attack. And what ended up transpiring is in a month of time, I lost about 30 to 35 pounds, became quite ill, and on February 14th, 2008, happy Valentine's to me, when I was admitted to the hospital with the world's most aggressive, fast-moving lymphoma that exists. It is called Burkitt's lymphoma, and I was a very sick man then. The doctor told me that I was probably within approximately 10 days of either living or dying. Burkitt's lymphoma doubles in size approximately every 25 hours. He said, we will know real quickly if you're going to live or die, because the chemo will either immediately bring it down or it'll remain out of control. He told me my odds were 50-50 of making it. Well, needless to say, it worked. Friends and family rallied around us in amazing ways. And out of 8 months on the 7th floor in an oncology ward overlooking Fort Worth, Texas, I found out much about love and support, a lot about myself. Truth be told, it was not an easy time. I mean, obviously we would understand that on one respect. If you want to see what I mean by that, go to my story that I put on the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society website. You can find it real easy by Googling Robert Baxter lymphoma, and it'll pop right up. And you can see a picture of me where I have even less hair then than I have now. I don't have any eyebrows, I don't have any stubble. I mean, I was Mr. Babyface. I was clean shaven across the board. In that story, I detail what it's like to go through Burkitt's lymphoma. I returned to work October 16th of 2008 and had to rebuild my life. I was very weak. The first year was fairly easy. Easy in the sense that it was, uphill, and I started exercising and became kind of the classic, victor over cancer. I was large and in charge, and received all the appropriate encouragement and the attaboys and and all those things that we all need when you go through cancer. But then in September 2009, about 1 year after I finished my chemotherapy, life began a downward spiral and became a long issue of medical management. I thought when a person beat lymphoma or cancer that it was over. And that might be true for some cancers, depending on how bad it was and the nature of the cancer. But with mine, I was stage 4B, which means that I was symptomatic, and it was all over my body. Long story short, lost 3 people that I loved dearly: my mother-in-law, my stepdad, and my dad, all within 11 months of each other, while I had 6 rounds of pneumonia back to back to back. And it took its toll on me, and I walked out of church. I walked away from many people and went into for the first time ever, a deep, deep depression. I didn't really see it that at the time, but as I look back, I can realize that's what it was. For me, I kept charging forward. There was additional complications that ensued. They found out I had low immunoglobulins, which was why I had the pneumonia. And thus began what I now term as my new normal. A close friend of mine died in 2012 due to cancer. And in 2013, I had another friend die of cancer. So it was 5 years of just really, really hard events. What changed me more than anything was reaching out in the depths of my despair in December of 2011. On the spiritual side, I collapsed, quit my job arbitrarily, walked away from my family by not leaving the house, but I just crawled up in this recliner, and for about 2 weeks I just withdrew from the world and withdrew from everybody. And I said, "Will the real God please stand up?" And I was a hurting man. And I discovered that he did, because I needed to know if he was real and if he loved me. And he made it clear. One of the practical tools that he put in front of me was the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society. Burkitt's is a rare form of lymphoma, and its unique characteristic is its extremely fast growth. You can be diagnosed and be gone in just a matter of 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, depending on your health. It's so quick. The Burkitt's Lymphoma Society, along with family and friends, nurtured me and helped me to rebuild. I finally found a haven, a very safe place for me to go in and be who I was and express my fears and pains with a group of people who knew it from a first-hand experience. And for those of you who've been through cancer, or if you've lost a loved one, whether it's like heart attack, if you've lost a child and the grief, these are all very unique things that happen, and the only people that truly get it are those that have walked in your shoes. Others can lend empathy and sympathy, and that's a wonderful thing. Compassion is amazing. But first-hand knowledge is something that can be so heavy and cannot be understood unless you're the one walking it. I got very involved in the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society and started getting some pictures of my Omiya Reservoir out there and talking about my journey, and I started having people contact me one at a time here and there through email, little chats back and forth. Started talking to sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, grieving widows, those who were absolutely terrified of what was happening with their loved ones. But you know, I really felt like I did not do the right thing overall. I felt inside of me like I should be writing a book because I have the ability to write. So therefore, the traditional thing to do is you write a book, or at least a pamphlet or something, you know, and you go out and you participate in Relays for Life and raise money for the American Cancer Society, and you do you know, these wonderful events. I mean, they're great to do. You give back. You give back to society because you've got a second chance, and you bring awareness to this type of situation and what you've been through. And I really didn't do any of that for the most part. I hid behind my computer screen. I hid behind the cell phone, so to speak. And I kept focusing on my health because that's what I had to do, keeping my job going. And I also realized that I couldn't stay an angry, bitter man. And it is hard when you've gone through an extended time to admit that you've been wrong the way you treated people. And that was me. And I was wrong the way I treated some people around me because of my depth of despair and anger. I detail that in my story. Please read it. I've been in remission for 6 years. I work in a neonatal ICU now. I specialize in 2 fields of nursing, neonatology and dialysis. Love them both. And I'm presently working in a neonatal ICU in Fort Worth, and I love my babies, and I love the families that come with them. It's just amazing. It is the most heartwarming job 99% of the time. The other 1% of the time is so painful. But it's a wonderful job, and it's been good for me. It's been very good for me. The hospital's treated me wonderful. And I want to share with you what happened this year and why I'm making this video today. A picture was posted by a grandmother of her grandson. His name is Sean, and I share this with his permission. And for those of you who understand the reference, the first thing I saw in the picture was that Dagwood sandwich. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Boy knows how to eat. And but if you look at his neck, you're going to see a really massive lump. And I remember staring at that lump, and it grew fast. It was aggressive, and his doctor and family had the good sense to come to a rather rapid conclusion. It was not a simple infection or something just minor. So they did a fairly fast biopsy and caught it in stage 1. Having seen what he went through by way of initial diagnosis, that never left me. The interactions on the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society never leave me. June 4th of 2014, I got up and did my normal little shave thing, and there was nothing on my neck or anything that was different. And I worked the night shift at the hospital, and that night around 1 a.m. for some reason, I just reached up and thought I felt something in my neck, and I spontaneously went like this, and I went, wow, where'd this come from? And I don't know if you can see it much now because I'm on round 2 of chemo and it's working. But there was this knot that formed, and it was probably about this size. It didn't stay that size. It started growing, and it started growing rapidly. Well, needless to say, having seen the picture of Sean and how his grew in the same spot and ballooned out of control quickly, I immediately got to my oncologist, and we started the process of getting ultrasound, biopsy, CT, just what have you. I believe it was the 14th, or it might have been the 19th, I forget the date. I released a video called I Have Lymphoma Again, Dang It. I had just kind of learned about vlogging a few months earlier, VLOGGING, vlogging, the idea that I can share things with video clips on YouTube, and it's just another way to get some information out there. I, of course, went to my family one-on-one, called them, let them know that I had lymphoma again. But to reach out to colleagues, the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society, and other people and friends from around the world, I had decided that the video would be the best way for everybody to hear the same information. That was on a Thursday. We got the final results of the biopsy back on that following Monday, and I released a video called I Have Bad News. And it's Burkitt's lymphoma again. And by that point, it was growing rapidly. I wasn't sure I wanted to go through the battle again, to be honest with you. For those of you, there are various kinds of chemo. Some are stronger and harder. Some you can work. Burkitt's, because of how aggressive it is, you basically get jerked out of life. And I had to just step to the side of life. Be pulled out again, put on disability. But the question first had to be answered, could I even withstand aggressive chemotherapy again? So I had a week or so to even ponder if I wanted to go through it, if my body was determined to be strong enough. So there was the bone marrow biopsy, and they did a heart exam. It's called a MUGA scan. And on the MUGA scan, they tested to see if my heart had enough strength in it to go through it. Everything checked out, so I went ahead and decided I would go ahead and fight. I was told this time I would need, and I released a video at that time called I've Made My Decision. My oncologist informed me I would need a full dose of chemotherapy. That would be phase 1. If we can get into remission, and so far it's quite hopeful because it is shrinking with each round of chemo considerably. So all signs are real positive right now. You know, I've forgotten how hard chemo is, and there were 2 days between round 1 and round 2 where I just laid in a chair and groaned. It was what we call a nadir, N-A-D-I-R, and it means the low point where everything bottoms out, and it's miserable. Oh my word, it's miserable. Bone pain from the Neulasta injection. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. Fortunately, it was only 2 days, but it was very difficult. I considered withdrawing. I wasn't sure I wanted to do this again. Because you see, once I go through the 6 to 8 rounds of chemo, provided I enter remission, which is looking hopeful, then comes a second phase, and it's stem cell transplant. There are 2 kinds of stem cell transplant. One is where I would receive my own. It's known as autologous. The other is known as allogeneic. I hope I'm saying that right. And the allogeneic is I would receive from a donor. Autologous, my own cells, would be about a 2-month, maybe 3-month hospital stay. The allogeneic, somebody else's stem cells, would require 4 to 6 months. And from everything I've read on the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society of people who have been through it and are currently going through it, it is quite a battle. Very isolated. You just lay there and you hope for the best. And my oncologist is kind of cute. She says, "Mr. Baxter, they've gotten really good at not killing people with the stem cell transplant. I think you could make it." Yeah, read between the lines on that one. But I had decided to fight, and I decided if I'm going to do it, I've got to go through it all. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little scared. The process is going to be brutal. Chemo is hard enough, and it's terrible. The stem cell transplant, from everything I read, is when they pick up the kitchen sink and they just toss it at you full on. Having said that, I want to share with you what happened that's so special to me. In 2008, I had just the most amazing outpouring of family and friends and co-workers. The network of support was focused, and it was just what I needed, and it was wonderful. Between 2008 and now, I thought I had squandered and just wasted my recovery because I really didn't go out and do these poster boy cancer recovery survivor type things. And I mostly just was communicating one-on-one with people and sharing in the Burkitt's Lymphoma Society. And I felt a bit of grief in my heart that I carried this private weight that I hadn't done more to give back. Well, 2 colleagues, Brenda Hockaday and Stephanie Bailey, and I think some others, had gotten together and talked. And these 2 decided to form 2 fundraisers, recognizing that this is going to be exceptionally difficult in every level, which includes financial. Disability only covers 60% through my insurance, which I'm thankful for, but it is a 40% pay cut along with a tremendous increase in bills. And this was the year we had finally started cresting our bills and we're actually paying off debts, and we were hopeful. We were kind of counting down and, all that good stuff. Decided not to be bitter about it. I'm just going to let go, and I'm going to trust in this process. And what happened next blew me out of the water. I like to have used the phrase that in 2008 I kind of discovered love. And my little catchphrase was discovering love, that out of 2008 I realized that I was loved. In 2014, I'm discovering I never knew the impact that I had on people between 2008 and now. I had no idea. And the most amazing, kind words have been sent to me. Heartfelt letters of people who saying they're connecting with my sharing online. Some of them have lost their children to Burkitt's, and they're finding some healing in this. And if it's not Burkitt's, it's to other cancers. It's all terrible. Some have been through it, but they've been kind of privately through it. And they're somehow connecting with. And I've had so many kind words spoken to me through Stephanie and Brenda, where when donations were made, they included their thoughts about me and why they're donating. And Brenda and Stephanie have been faithful to convey every one of them to me. I've been sick enough I haven't been able to really keep up with it. It's a little bit of a whirlwind. And at one point, I don't remember the exact phrase that she used, but one night, since work night shift, she comes up and says, "Robert," and she said something to the effect of, "I just didn't know who you are, or that the impact you've had on others," or something like that. She goes, "Because here's another message, and this one's from so-and-so." Well, and this was just happening over and over, and it caught us all off guard. You see, where I thought I had wasted my time, wasted my recovery, and just stayed kind of self-focused on health and work, which is not a bad thing, but I didn't give back, and I carried some grief in my heart about that. I now realize that connecting one-on-one with people is a very powerful thing. I don't need a public platform. I don't need to write a book. Those are wonderful things to do. But that doesn't mean there aren't other wonderful ways to reach out and connect and help and touch each other. We need this kind of thing. And sometimes technology is put down as so sterile, and we're staring into our phones instead of sitting down and meeting one-on-one. Well, there is a place for that. And that is a valuable thing, to meet one-on-one. But when other people live around the world, why not leverage technology to help each other? And I'm finding these videos are helping people. And what I decided to do was to form a website called www.craftsims.com, and it's the link to my blogs, my videos, and my pictures. And as I can, I'm going to keep producing these types of thoughts in written word. Photography is my primary passion as a hobby, and then I dabble a little bit in these videos. I created this particular video to address the fundraising aspect that's occurred because it put me into a corner. I was feeling so sick on round one, and I had so many people just blessing my socks off, and it caught me off guard. So the first step I did is, once that momentum picked up, I wrote a letter to my colleagues in the NICU. It's in a private page on Facebook where we communicate. And I document that in the "You Never Know the Impact You Have on Another Person" video. Watch it. It's really where I lay my heart out to them. And then when I got home, I took a few steps back and almost thought I was going to stop sharing and being transparent. I had a moment of shame and embarrassment over just kind of putting my heart out there. And what was I doing? And who am I? And there's a moment of withdrawal there, and I had to take a good serious look. And I got my answer. I received very suddenly some emails and a couple of cards that changed my perspective. And to hear the way these moms and family members use the specific words, "There's something healing as I'm walking through this with you, that I'm connecting somehow, and I need this. There's bringing some type of healing in my life, even though it's very painful to address." And that was the moment I said, I can't pull back. Now, separate from this, got some great in-laws in South Texas who wanted to get some lymphoma bracelets, and they asked me what I would want on there. And my mission since 1999, an intentional pursuit, is to look at Mark 12:28-31. It's the greatest commandment. Even if you're not a spiritual person or a Christian, consider what it says: to love God, love others as self, that there's nothing greater. And I have made that an intentional pursuit from 99 on. And honestly, I felt mostly like a failure in it. I felt like what I was learning is that I didn't know how to love, which maybe that's valid. Sometimes we need to know what we're not doing right to realize that we need to correct our courses. So in 2008, I was discovering love. And now I'm realizing I just didn't know the impact that all this journey I've been having on others, and it's returning back to me. And so I want to give back to y'all through these videos and through the journal writings and through whatever I can with photography, and share this in detail as much as I can. Share my thoughts and my heart. I need your help. This particular video is primarily meant to address those who have not met me before, to give you a quick little testimony and overview. I've never before thought I would sit here and stare into a computer or laptop and say, would you please consider praying for me? Would you please consider sending cards to my wife or to my daughters? Send them to me and share with me. Send me an email. It doesn't have to be a card. My email address I created is walkingthroughthis@yahoo.com. Share your story with me. Allow me to connect with you. It is meaningful to me. It means a lot to me because grief is better expressed and healed in a community, even if it's just a letter or two, a card or an email. It's all wonderful. And talk on the phone if you're comfortable with that. I like to talk on the phone with people from time to time. It means a lot to me. And if you're a praying kind of person, I love to pray. I love to receive prayers and give prayers. If you're not a Christian, if you're atheist, agnostic, or have a different belief, I'm very comfortable with that. It does not challenge me whatsoever. And I thank you for being kind to me, and I love being kind to you. And I've had this really neat thing happen over the last 6 years, is I've met a lot of people who have such different beliefs than mine. And I found out that I just love them to death. What great people. I'm not here to go spiritual on people or go into a preachy thing. This is not going to be a Christian blog, although I will as a Christian man. I can only represent who I am. But I'd like you to be who you are. And we can learn about each other. And how do we process grief and the difficult things we go through. So if you've gotten this business cards or the bracelets, or you happen to trip across this video, I am asking for prayers, cards, and financial support. There's two ways. One is through a Wells Fargo account that Brenda Hockaday set up for those who are not comfortable giving credit card information online. And for those who are, there's a GoFundMe.com account. In the search bar, you put my name in and you will see the information. Feel free to contact either Stephanie or Brenda with any questions you have. They're managing this for me. They are colleagues of mine, registered nurses, in a way that creates some more trust, and there's outward accountability. You can bet we're doing everything in our ability right now to tighten our belts financially, and we're preparing for a long-term battle. We're kind of trimming the fat, if you will. Let me tell you what's happened. I didn't know how much it meant to others to reach out one at a time. Never discount what you can do with just an email, a card, a phone call, or a small gift. It means a lot. We all need each other. And right now, I need y'all's help. My family needs your help. My wife needs encouragement. My daughters need encouragement. And we'd appreciate anything that you feel like is laid on your heart by just simple words, emails, prayers, cards, and financial gifts. If I've raised any questions, send me an email, walkingthroughthis@yahoo.com. You can go to my blog site and jump around there. That's the www.craftsims.com. And I look forward to meeting more of you, hearing your stories. Thank you so much for hearing me out on this.